Hey y'all, Wilson here. Y'all get ready for a flavor-packed journey of adventure of flavor. I gotta tell you, this brisket flatbread melt is to die for. We're talking about brisket. We're talking about sauteed onions to perfection. We're talking about sauteed bell peppers. We're talking about delicious mozzarella cheese. We're talking about a awesome sauce that's going to go in there and wrap that up, and then we're going to stuff all that around some fluffy flatbread and give it a topping of tanginess and flavor that not only will your taste buds die for, but your friends are going to beg you for the recipe. I'm ready to get to it. So let's get to going. One of the first things we want to get right is make sure our yeast is still good. Can't tell you how many times that I've either gone to somebody's house or my own and the yeast never activated because either it was too old, or sometimes, believe it or not, it just ship it to you bad because it's old. So what we've got here is about 110 degrees of a cup of water, and we're using gluten-free flour. If you're using gluten flour, it's 2.5 teaspoons of active yeast, fast acting. Double that up right here. So we're going to sprinkle that across there, just like that. And then we've got a teaspoon of sugar, which helps it activate faster and let you know. And I can already see it's reacting fairly well with the warm water. So we're going to let this sit for about 10 to 12 minutes. Make sure it gets fully active. I think we're good to go. But we're going to follow the protocol anyway, just to be on the safe side. And so in a little bit we'll come back and then we will start mixing up and making our dough. Now we're going to go ahead and start working on the rest of it. As you can see from there, we're all nice and puffy. Yeast is on fire, working great. So we got 2.5 cups of gluten-free flour. And this is going, and if you're just want to make sure we sift it. And we've got a couple of extra ingredients because we're going to be using gluten-free flour. And we need that so it makes the dough a little bit softer. So makes it easier to knead, easier to handle, makes the dough a little lighter. It works wonders. So just want to sift that. If you've got a fancy old-timey sifter or if you've got a fancy new sifter, you can use that. That's for me. This always seems to work. And our dry ingredients first. So we got some fixin husk. Got about 2 tablespoons of that. That's for the gluten-free option. We've got 1 teaspoon of salt. That's going in no matter what. Now we want to get our yeast mixture. Get that all poured in. We're going to add the wet stuff. And now we also have, for gluten-free only, 4 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. Again, that just helps lighten it up. Now we're going to mix this around with a spoon. And really we just kind of want it to be a little bit wet. Have a bit of a shaggy type of dough we got going here. We're not trying to get it formed to a really smooth ball or anything. Just want to get it moved around. Gluten-free, you may need to add just a little bit more water. But, you know, you'll see when you get it all moved around. What we really want to make sure we get out of here is no dry spots. Nothing stuck at the bottom that's going to stick to the dough. No dry spots at all. We want to get that all blended in. And so to get that achieved, you really don't want to add any more water than you have to, but if you have to add water, you just add a little bit at a time. All right, that's all nice and blended. At this point in time, I'm going to start putting my hands on it and get it all kind of kneaded up into a ball and go from there. So we'll start the kneading process now. Best way I like to do it is just lightly flour our surface. You really don't want to add too much flour to it than you have to. And then we'll get our dough. You can feel it here, see it here. And just start kneading it. Basically just turn it into and over to itself. We'll do this for at least 3 minutes. You can go with 2, depending on how fast you're kneading it. But you want to do it at least for that long. And that's about it. So we've got a nice little ball here. Nice and softened, nice and kneaded. You want 3 minutes with it just to get it a little bit softer, kind of break down those fibers and compounds. Just gonna put a little olive oil in a bowl. What we're gonna do is take this, move it around in there, cover all sides of it. This also helps it not stick to anything. You want to make sure you get all of it covered up, and the olive oil is not for you. And then we're going to cover this up with a nice, warm, wet towel. Stick it in someplace warm and allow it to rise, allow the yeast to do its thing for about an hour. Then we'll come back to it and get started with the fun stuff. Now it's time to put our tantalizing, amazing sauce into this thing. So what we're gonna do is we gotta take about a can, 14.5-ounce can of diced tomatoes. We're gonna put those in there in our saucepan. And then we've got tomato paste. We're gonna put that in there. Then we've got a teaspoon of sugar. That has to go in, of course. And then we've got half a teaspoon of dried oregano. That goes in there. Teaspoon of dried basil. I'm sorry, half a teaspoon of dried basil goes in there. Quarter of a teaspoon of garlic salt. If you want to add any more salt to it, that's why. And then we've got a dash, or maybe a couple of dashes of red pepper flakes, depending on how hot you like it. And you can put that in there. So we're going to get this stirred up. We're going to get this over a medium to low heat. And we just want to get it warmed up. Maybe a little bubble here or there. And then we're going to allow it to cool while we move on to the next step of this process. Now we're going to make the topper for this thing. And it tastes amazing, I got to tell you. We've got ourselves some dried. You can use freshly grated. You can use whatever you want to. Parmesan cheese, got 2 tablespoons of that. Tablespoon of garlic powder. We're going to get this all mixed together. Tablespoon of oregano, ground oregano. Got half a teaspoon of minced onion. Half a teaspoon of salt. And a quarter teaspoon of black pepper. Really simple. Just want to make sure you don't have any clumps. And you can flick some of it out, I guess, while you're doing this. No clumps, all nice, well blended. When you go to store this, you want to put it in like an airtight container, store it in the refrigerator if possible. And if you have any clumps, just break them up. And this is also in the recipe. You can put some MSG in there, kick it up a notch, make it taste better. That's optional. But if that's what you want to do, I'll stand with you on that. Hey y'all, so we've got our dough. It's risen just like we wanted it to, how we expected it. So at this point in time, we're going to take little balls, and I'll show you an example of one. We're going to pull off little pieces of this and get it kind of flattened out. And what we're looking to make are like 8 to 10-inch round balls with this. So you just kind of get it like that. Flatten it out, unless you've got something to flatten it with. And just kind of pound it out with your hand, and we will roll it out. Pretty much that simple. Or if you got a press, you can just press it out like that. Otherwise, lightly floured surface, roll it all out. Make sure it doesn't stick to your roller, and we're going to get to that too. A little flour, I'm going to sprinkle it out, lightly flour the surface, just like so. You don't want to overdo it. You definitely want to make sure you got this thing covered. So basically, lightly flour the surface. Then come across right at the top of the same surface, so you get some more flour on it, and make sure you got this covered. All right, a little flour there, and basically just want to roll this out. So it's nice and thin, about 8 to 10 inches. And while you're rolling these out, if you've got some parchment paper, you can separate them that way. And then otherwise, we'll keep going until we get like a nice, perfectly round thing. Yeah. Hey, I also got a whole stack of flatbread here, right? Got it separated, got it thin, got it separated with my parchment paper, makes it easier to handle, easier to throw on the skillet. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna get these all warmed up and cooked, okay? And then we will get the process going of loading the food up in it. All right, y'all, got our skillet heated up, medium to low heat. We're gonna place this gently in there, just for about 2 minutes aside. It's gonna start to fluffing up on us. When it does that, I'm just going to tap it down just a little bit, especially because we really don't want it to get, you just don't want it to be huge. So 2 minutes, flip it over, we'll do it again. You can see, I don't know if you can or not, but it's kind of curled up there. We're going to flip this thing over, So see a few brown spots, that's kind of what we're going for, that texture right there. We're gonna go with 2 more minutes this side. Gonna keep cooking the rest of them, and one key thing to remember is what we're gonna do is when we pull these off, we're gonna cover them up with a towel and let them steam while they keep going, so that'll make them a little bit more pliable, which is exactly what we're looking for. And that's how it should be laid out. A wet towel on top, let it steam from inside, make it more pliable. Got our bread done. Now we're going to start cooking our onions, sauteing our peppers. And the last thing we'll do is, once these are all nice and soft, is add in our brisket. Got this side heated up. Now we're going to load this thing up. First thing we're going to add is some cheese. We're just going to load up about half of it because we want to be able to fold this in half. We're going to take some of our brisket. I'm going to layer that on there just about like that. Once again, we're not trying to stuff this thing full. Just going to get it moved around there. And then we're going to add in a little bit of our sauce here. Get that moved around as well. Just like that. At this point in time, we're going to fold her over. In fact, let's top it with some more cheese, shall we? Can't go wrong with too much cheese like that. We're going to fold it in half, just like that. We're going to leave it over here on this side of the skillet, just for now. So you can kind of push it down like that. Now while that's working over there, what we're going to do next is add some vegetable oil to the other side. Get that heated up. Just like that. And then what we want to do is get that side heated up. It doesn't take long to get this to happen either. And then we want to put this over just like that. And get that all taken care of, get that nice and warm. I'm going to get these other pieces out of here. Ooh, this is going to give it that nice crust we're looking for. It's time to flip it over. Get the other side nice and golden brown, kind of fried just like that. And you can just wait to see what we're going to do with it next. So this part is really key. We're going to take our seasoning we created and we're just going to put it across the top just like that. We're going to take our spatula, we're going to move it around. Also press it down some more because we want that cheese to get all in there. Put that seasoning going on top of that. Oh my goodness. If you talk about some flavor explosion, that is going to get it right there. And also made a garlic dipping sauce to go with this thing too. If you're into that, it's also in the recipe below. Well, damn y'all, here we have it. Brisket flatbread, cheesy goodness. Seasoning, perfect sauce, brisket. Damn great on everything, but the combination between the onions and the brisket and the bell peppers all mixed together on this delicious flatbread, topped with the breadstick seasoning. Look, it's a unique flavor. It is a divine flavor. And yeah, there's a couple of steps to it, but it tastes amazing. Also, I've got some garlic dipping sauce. I threw that in there at the bottom for the recipe. The recipe is in the description below. It's also going to be in my new cookbook coming out at some point. Savor in the South. Each one of my cookbooks, the proceeds I receive, go directly to charity. So this time around, I'm supporting caninesforwarriors.org. They help out veterans. They also rescue dogs, get them trained, train the dogs up to be fantastic service animals and service dogs for the veterans to help them out with the trauma. 2 things everybody should be able to get behind. Veterans help protect us and provide the world we live in at this point in time, keep us all safe. And dogs, because who doesn't like dogs? Dogs are amazing things. Combine those 2 together, got to get behind that. So hey, hit them up down below. There's a link down below, caninesforwarriors.org, and donate what you can. Whatever you can will help. And keep just one thing in mind. Also, feel free to hit me up at Cookin with Wilson. That's without the G, because I'm country like that. At Gmail, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I think that's all I got going these days. And let me know what you think about it. And keep just one thing in mind. The thing I love most about fall is when the mosquitoes go back to hell where they came from. Bye.